So y'all can see the water is actually clearer than you would assume it to be, especially for something man-made. But freshwater inflows, outflows, some outputs or whatever. What you can't smell is the smell.
Look at those footprints.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a heron.
One of those big old birds.
The big birds.
I saw one.
Yeah, and there's a couple fish things, tadpoles. I don't know. There's a lot of wildlife in this little pond here. So let me put my phone up so I don't drop it in this water. Okay. So the water that I got is from a dirty ass pond. My daughter picked it from a dirtier place. We should have got some of it from like the really gross side, but I also was like, ew. Ew. So it won't be as a dramatic change. But so we're gonna take these moringa seeds, and I just go to the Indian market. We have this store that sells Indian spices, and what you're gonna do is just de-shell this, I guess. I'm sure this would work better if it was fresher seeds. Okay, so you want to get to that white part. Okay, so that's what we're getting to. And so 1 seed per liter. So 1 liter is about 4 cups of water. 4 and some change. So yeah, just crack that outer shell. And use a mortar and pestle if you have it, coffee grinder, bottom of something hard. You might need to get creative. But I've got one, so, well, I need to get a new pestle, so I just be using the bottom of, like, cups and other things. So you're gonna get that all ground up. Of course, you could just watch another video. So there are so many benefits to moringa leaves, to moringa seeds, seed oil. There's subtropical and tropical plants. So the only place where I've seen moringa, the only place north where I've seen moringa like really do well, highest place was North Carolina. Like I know people growing them in Michigan and Detroit, but they're not gonna do anything past having the leaves because it's just not warm enough, not rainy enough. Okay. So once you get that, you're going to make a paste, and it says use some clean water. So this is assuming that you have clean water to work with, right? So I'm just gonna pour it in another jar. So if reading up on this correctly, there is a product, you only need like 250 ml, so not a whole lot. There is a constituent found in the moringa seed that acts as like a coagulant, so to speak. It draws all of the bacteria to itself and then allows it to fall out of solution in the water, right? So, and this is why I'm sure it is beautiful in the body, because it allows, I gotta do this in a different container, because you have to be able to stir it. So I'm gonna pour off the water. looks a little dirtier now. And if you saw the first part of the video, you saw that fucking working with duck pond water. Lots of ducks, lots of biological waste, right? So, put it in there. So, and what you're gonna do is stir it rapidly for like a minute. So I'm going to turn this off and then come back. All right, so after you've stirred it, and so hopefully that activated the coagulants in the water with the first paste that we made, then you're gonna stir it like 10 times every minute for 5 minutes. So I turned off the time lapse so I could talk real quick, because this is like a slower every once in a while for 5 minutes or whatever. So what's beautiful about this upon reading is some of the tests that they found after they've tested the water that has been cleaned with moringa seeds or purified, right? That it has gotten rid of some high level bacteria that even bleach can't get rid of. Now, this process is not 100% effective in removing all those biological contaminants, right? But this is a process that can be used, especially if you're not having access to heat to be able to boil. So one of the thoughts that came up as I'm trying to understand water access, water purification, sustainability actions and stuff like that, from worst case scenario to best case scenario or whatever, just broad spectrum of ideas concerning water. One of the main issues that kept coming up is what happens if your electricity is out, or what happens if you cannot build a fire to boil. So say some catastrophe happened here in this complex where the water and electricity is out, we can't boil the water. Like, even if I go collect water from somewhere and I have those locations, I can't purify it. I can filter it, but there's no purification process. There's no getting rid of the contaminants that would be happening, right? Short of putting in bleach in the water or putting in iodine tablets. And we are, again, just finding ways, because of course a rolling boil for 10 minutes will get rid of all of the biological contaminants in the water. But again, this is for spaces when you don't have access to build a fire to boil the water. So it's my last stir, and then I'm gonna let it sit for an hour. And I'm not gonna do a time lapse on it. If you want to watch a time lapse video because that makes you feel all cool and fuzzy inside, then there's plenty on the internet for that. So if you're able to do types of things to find ways to purify that water once you collect it, would be useful, right? So we're just trying to understand, how do we bring this technology, this understanding to us quickly? And so this seems like it would be a good, personal use idea. It would take a lot more moringa seeds and a lot more labor to do larger amounts of water, but it still can be done, and it can be done relatively cheap and safe. These seeds are not a lot, and you can see how much is in one bag, and I only use 3. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up and away because my family likes to touch stuff if they feel it's nasty, and I don't blame them sometimes. But so we're gonna put this up and away, and then when it is finished in an hour, I will come back to give the final results. Okay, so I didn't take a good before picture, and I probably can perfect this process, but this is after 2 hours. So as you can see, sediment has gone all the way to the bottom. So that is the moringa seed that I should have filtered off the chunks. So I'm gonna do a better job of making the paste and or do a better job of crushing and then making the paste and then filtering off the larger chunks so that it's not left behind. But the stuff at the bottom, the suspended stuff, it means it's holding on to whatever bacteria or whatever is found in between. And it's a lot clearer. Gonna perfect the process, but like it's not just internet tricks. Moringa powder, moringa seeds can purify water.